Yo, what's up guys, it's Talon. If you don't know me, I have been rank 1 in Wild Rift, all solo queue, and a 5-role sovereign on 5 different accounts, all in one season, also all solo queue. And today we're going to be showing you some advanced wave management techniques. So if you don't know, I have, through the link in the description, to my Google Doc, it has a general wave management guide that helps you understand the terminology and the general things you can do with wave management. But this is going to give you some more planned out things that you can plan for 1, 2, 3 minutes in advance and create a situation where you're actually able to get a really big advantage in lane. As you can see, these are kind of the topics that we're going to be talking about. And again, it's just basically going to give you some more advanced, complicated things that you can do if you're looking into that at this point. Additionally, again, link in the description gives information in a Google Doc, which has all the key concepts you need to understand for Wild Rift and videos associated with them. And the link in the description also gives information on my coaching if you're interested in that. Anyways, let's get right into the video. This first example is basically when you're in a winning matchup and you want to stack and find a dive on level 5. We're going to talk about how to do that, and then we'll talk about when to do that at the kind of end here as well. So initially, obviously, it's going to be more in a winning matchup because you're going to have control over the wave in a winning matchup. Essentially, your goal here is to create a big wave and build up a really big wave that will crash on the enemy tower when you're hitting level 5. And so we're going to sort of show you how to do that. So the first thing you're looking for is just when the enemy go up for last hits, make it hard for them to get all of them. Again, you're doing this in winning matchups so you can scare them off like I do with the Kayle here just by posturing aggressively. The Kayle loses out on that XP already, so they start to fall a little bit behind. You're really just wanting to build up as many, small XP leads as possible. So again, he walks up for the last hit. All I do is I take a quick little trade there with him, nothing more than that. That way I do slowly push the wave. As you can see, there's a health lead that I have, but it's not such a big health lead that's going to go under his tower already. I want to make sure that I don't let the wave go under his tower too early, or else again, I'm not going to be able to build up a really big wave. So basically every single time that the next wave comes, I just continue to slowly last hit it, but I don't actually fully kill the wave and crash it under their turret. That way we're, again, having a longer period of time where the wave is stuck here so I can build up a bigger and bigger wave. And then again, I want to talk about a small trick here. So when the next wave is coming, you can actually drag the wave to all target 1 minion. So if you look at my body here, look at my character walk. So I end up dragging this minion and aggroing all of the enemy minions towards the left side. So why do I do this? Well, I do it for a simple reason. It causes all of the enemy minions to target the same minion at once. Whereas if they go and they meet normally, they're going to kind of split up. Some will hit the left minion, some will hit the right minion. But instead, what I do here is, again, I make them all drag and meet this one minion. So now both of the enemy caster minions are hitting the enemy melee minion that's in front. And then also both of the enemy melee minions are hitting my melee minion. So what this does, again, is it basically makes that minion die faster. And because that minion ends up dying faster, the enemy has to walk up earlier than he otherwise would, which allows me to, again, walk up at him and deny him that XP of that minion. As you see, that minion died. It died quicker because of us dragging that wave. So again, we're just constantly finding these angles to deny a little bit of XP from Kayle while not fully crashing the wave so that we can create a really big level advantage. And then again, we're waiting for the next wave to come. And once again, we're not going to fully push this wave. We'll trade with him if he decides to walk up for a last hit like this minion here. That way he's getting a bit lower for our eventual dive. And then again, we're going to be waiting for one more final wave. If we look at the timer right now, we currently don't have, enough minions to get level 5. As you can see on the 122 mark, crashing at this point would be too early. So we wouldn't be able to get level 5. So we're kind of waiting until the minions will actually give us level 5 to fully crash it. And then that's when we're going to actually look for, again, like a full wave crash and then dive angle. So as you see here, it's nearing the 150 mark. And right around that 150 mark is when we're starting to build up a wave and dive, and then actually fully crashing it. So you could crash it slightly earlier if your jungler was obviously coming right away. Since my jungler is not coming, I end up doing it a little later. And you can see at 1 minute and 53 seconds, we hit level 5, and you could do it a couple seconds earlier. You can see I have slight amount of XP, but roughly at the 150 mark is when you're crashing that wave fully. Why is this important? Well, if you understand jungle timers, if a jungler starts on the opposite side of the map as you, he will be pathing towards you and ready to gank anywhere from about 1 minute 50 seconds to 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Often 150 is a very common timer. So this is a absolutely perfect timer for your jungler to gank. Now, as you're going to see here, my jungler started on the opposite side of me. And so me crashing at this point is actually not good. You're going to see me try to dive and fail because it's a full health Kayle. Even if I am up 2 levels and I wanted to see, like, can I kill him? I cannot. And usually you're not going to be able to kill if you don't get, you know, a lot of health off the enemy. So if you do have a really advantageous trade, you can still do this without your jungler, but this is much more commonly going to be an effective strategy with your jungler actually pathing towards you. So again, as we spoke about, basically you're building up a slow push and you're crashing it on level 5 right around 1 minute and 50 seconds so your jungler can dive and you can be level 5 for that dive. You're making sure to deny some XP from the enemy when you can, and you're punishing them only for last hits, but never crashing the wave fully until 150. Again, this is much better when your jungler is pathing towards you. I'm going to show you then in the next clip what to do when your jungler is not pathing towards you. So when your jungler is not pathing towards you, what you want to do instead is you're going to crash one wave earlier and you're going to trade harder with the enemy. This gives you two options. It allows you to potentially make the dive yourself on level 4 if you get really good trades, or it allows you to crash on your boots timer because you're going to crash the wave, be able to get a turret plate, and then recall for your boots. So you have multiple options there, and they're both good options. The reason this is good to do when your jungler is pathing away from you is because you crash the wave closer to 130, and 130 is too early for enemy jungle to gank. And again, your jungler is not going to be able to gank you because he's pathing to the opposite side. So it gives you more safety. You're less likely to get ganked. Whereas again, as you saw in the last clip, because my jungler wasn't pathing towards me, it was entirely possible that the enemy jungler ganked me because I didn't know where the enemy jungler would have started. So it was obviously very dangerous that I did that, but it ended up working, or at least not like, you know, causing me to die. So again, you're going to see the same thing here. We trade harder this time. So you saw we take an initial trade with the Jax because again, we're trying to trade to keep health lower, because if health is not low, I can never find that dive. And so again, we look to deny him the XP. You saw the same way as before. We deny him that initial XP so that he's going to have a level disadvantage when we look for the dive. And we're continuing to do this. We're obviously just taking trades where we can. Here we just play around level diff, you know, as is pretty straightforward. And because we denied him that one minion, you can see how he's still stuck at level 1 while we're level 2. We use that advantage to get quite a big lead. And then this allows us to, again, pretty freely create this slow push, which we're going to crash on the next wave. And since, again, we got a bigger trade, we're able to dive earlier. So basically, more heavy trading and crashing on like 1 minute 30 seconds instead of 150 when your jungler is not pathing towards you. That way you have an earlier dive opportunity, or again, boots recall. So notice again, we waited for this wave to come. We're not quite crashing yet. We're trading when we can with them. And then this is when we start to actually look for the full crash. Here it's actually a little more like 120, but you know, 120, 125, 130, right around that timer is when you're looking for this full crash. Because then what you can do, I want you to pay attention to my gold. I have 807 gold. How much gold do you need for boots? If you're going tank boots, you need 850. If you're going like 850 extra, 1350 total, obviously. And if you're going for damage boots, you need 1400. So as you can see here, all you need is one turret plate or a couple like mushrooms under your turret, and you're going to be able to get this recall. So again, say Jax wasn't diveable here. All I'm doing is I'm crashing the wave on, again, 120, 130, and then I get to recall for boots. This way I come back to lane stronger without being very gankable by the enemy jungler, because again, you're making sure that the enemy jungle can't gank you. That's why you're crashing at 130. And then again, if the enemy is low enough, you can do something like this, where you just basically bully a turret plate, and either they back off, or they disrespect you and you get a free kill and a dive like that. And either way, you're either getting a turret plate. If you have demolish, obviously it's even more effective, or at the very least you get a good boots recall. So again, this is what you want to be doing when your jungler is pathing away from you, whereas when your jungler is pathing towards you, you want to do what we did in the previous clip, even though you saw me making the mistake of doing it when my jungler was pathing away from me. If you do what we did in the previous clip and you get that advantage early like we did, you're now going to be looking for an even, you know, basically another wave management technique that's going to allow you to further push this lead. And that's going to be paying attention to level 5 denial really, really hard. So you're going to see a few things here. The first is obviously we have the level advantage because we gained that from the previous clip where we were able to you know, outplay the enemy and dive and make him lose a bunch of minions. But now what you're going to want to do to maintain this lead is use the fact that you're up a level to continue to deny the enemy levels. So your goal is not necessarily to kill them over and over and over again. Obviously, if you kill them, great. But what you're really looking to do is deny them levels. So how can we do this? Well, the simple way you can do it is obviously having a freeze, but the problem with freezing is eventually it's going to build up and push back into the enemy as you last hit. So what you want to do is you want to trade outside of the wave so that the enemy minions don't aggro you and the freeze maintains for longer. And so as you see here, we do initially trade with him and we hit the minions, but as you see, all I do is hit the minions so they're roughly even, and he has like one more, minion at pretty low HP. So basically the freeze is going to maintain, the minions are going to stay in a pretty neutral state. And then I trade with him outside of the wave. So I just continue to walk at him and I trade with him outside of the wave. Again, you see how I sit here for the XP. I don't care about getting the last hit on that cannon minion. I care about getting the XP from it to further maintain my level lead. Then I just I go back into him and I let the wave stay frozen while he continues to lose the minions for level 4 or for level 5. And obviously, we're strong enough to kill him. But basically what ends up happening here is because we traded outside of the wave never aggroed me. And so the minions stay frozen. What this allows me to do is continue denying him XP and then build up an even bigger slow push to the point that we're going to have a 2-level lead at this point. And so you're going to see basically that's what happens. We end up building the slow push. And then as you can see now I have 6 minions to his 2 minions right now, and then his 4 are coming in a little later. So now it's going to create a slow push. But by the time the slow push is created, because of all of the XP denial that we did on level 5 and all of the minions that he lost because of this freeze, because we traded outside of the wave, he's going to be level 4 to level 7, and he's going to barely even get level 5 before we're able to create a dive. In an absolutely optimal scenario, you keep him at level 4 so you can dive him here, and that's what I'm kind of trying to do. Is like he ends up, I don't know what he does here, he's I guess just realizing it's kind of doomed, but we basically just build up this absolutely giant wave, and I could easily dive him without my jungler even. But obviously my jungler's here. He does barely get level 5, as we said, from this minion, so ideally we were able to stop that minion. But either way, we're able to have a 2.5 level lead here, and he's going to lose all of these minions as well because of our jungler being able to dive. We would have had to play the dive a bit cleaner if we didn't have jungle, but with jungle, we're able to play it a bit more aggressive and just get that instant XP denial. So basically, again, when you are level 5 before the enemy, especially when you're getting level 5 a little bit before, like couple, minions before, you want to basically trade outside the wave and only get the XP so that the freeze maintains, and then use that to deny the enemy XP because you're trading really aggressively with your level 5, so you can use your ult to trade with them, and then just deny them as much XP as possible so that you're able to have this really big dive, again, around this timer. This final example is going to be much more useful in losing matchups. So basically what you're doing is you're trying to allow the enemy to not quite crash the wave under your turret, but push it pretty deep under, or like pretty close to your turret. And then around the 1 minute and 10 wave, the wave that comes at about 1 minute 10 seconds, you're going to start building up a slow push, which will allow you to get level 4 first. You're then going to trade around your level 4, and then you have 2 options. You can crash the next wave and recall because you're in a losing matchup and you're just trying to get decent recalls, or you can dive on level 5 because if your jungler might be there. Depends on the situation. But basically what you're trying to do here is you're trying to trade with the enemy enough that they don't completely push the wave under your turret, but you're also trying to let them maintain the push. So you want them to push into you because, again, you're in a losing matchup. You don't necessarily have the ability to hard trade. So you're just going to trade in situations like this where the enemy, they walk up, you take a little even trade with them so that they're focused on hitting you, but not hitting the wave. What this also does is it makes the wave aggro them. So notice how when Garen attacks me here, right, you'll see in a second, Garen attacks me, my wave starts aggroing and hitting the Garen. Meanwhile, the enemy wave is not hitting me, like their range minions are not hitting me because I'm too far away. What this means is their range minions hit my melee minions, which causes my minions to be lower health than their minions. Or, well, those are my range minions, not my melee minions, but you get the point. Whereas the enemy, or my minions, are hitting Garen, so they're not hitting the enemy minions, so it naturally creates a push into me. This is important because it allows me to maintain a deficit in terms of minion health so that the enemy continue to push into me. But again, I trade with him so he's distracted and he's not actually fully crashing the wave. Otherwise, again, the plan that we're going to speak about won't really work. And so you kind of want to, again, trade with him, let him aggro the minions, let him have that push, but don't let the push, get too deep or get pushed too quick. And then the time where the wave is okay to crash is either at like 1 minute and 3 seconds, 1 minute, roughly 1 minute, you can let the wave crash into you, but this is only if you have to, like if you know that you're going to lose the trade. So like here, I don't want to go and trade with a level 3 Garen as a level 2 Camille, so I let it crash into me. If I'm stronger and I can do it, you can actually walk up right next to the Garen and just keep the range minions aggroing you so they don't crash under your turret. But in this situation, again, I have to let it crash, and that's okay too. We'll show you why in a second. Garen, he does some stupid Garen stuff and gets hit by turret. Shout out to Garen. But either way, this is the moment you're looking for. What ends up happening right now is the enemy minions have not yet died to my turret because we stalled it long enough that the wave didn't crash until about 1 minute. Again, here it was like 103. And so since the minions haven't yet died, what ends up, and again, ideally you can let it wait till 103, 105 until it crashes. If it has to be 1 minute, that's okay. Again, 105 probably the ideal timer to let it crash. Anyways, the point is, the enemy minions are still alive under my turret, and my minions from the next wave are arriving. What this ends up doing is it stops my minions. So my minions get stopped here by the enemy minions. Meanwhile, the enemy minions, from the next wave, they're already coming. They're not getting stopped by anything. This leads to the wave being in a perfect spot for me. Again, in a losing matchup, you want this wave to be right about here around level 3, because now you can't really get traded on super hard because you have your turret right behind you, so the enemy can't run you down. You're not very gankable, which is important for losing matchups. And then also, you're able to get level 4 before the enemy. Right around 1 minute and 30, 1 minute and 40 seconds, if you kill 3 or 4 of these minions that are currently here, you're going to get level 4 first, and then you can trade around level 4. And you're able to hit these minions easier because they're closer to your turret. So you're going to notice here how Garen doesn't really want to walk up this far because he doesn't know where enemy jungle is, and he's, again, just going to be a bit more scared, and it's easy for me to hit these minions. And so basically, I'm able to get these 3 minions, the minion that I just got, the next one right here, and then the final cannon minion here. And what this does is it gets me level 4 before the enemy. This is important because then I can trade around level 4, of course, which you're going to see me do in a second. And then I also create a slow push. So this does 2 things for me. As you can see right now, we have a slow push building up. If you don't know what a slow push is, watch my other wave management guide, which is in the Google Doc. But we're building up a slow push, which is going to allow us to crash and then find an eventual recall angle. So again, we're in a losing matchup, and yet we're able to get advantageous trades because we have level 4 to his level 3 there because of the fact that we let him push and then crash on the 1 minute and 10-second timer. So our wave got stuck there, and then we're able to hit the enemy minions while they can't hit ours. This allows us to, again, create a slow push where now I have level 5 and he's level 4. So I can take another advantageous trade with my level advantage. If I was a stronger champion early, I could obviously do more, but I'm just, it's Camille into Garen. I'm just not going to do that much early. And then this is the timer where you can crash the wave, right around 2 minutes, 2:15, depending on the situation. You can crash the wave, and now you have 2 options. Recall or dive, and that's obviously depending on the situation. Here, I'm like, yeah, I don't think I can dive Garen. I'm going to recall. Garen says, hey, I'm playing Garen, so clearly I have no IQ. I'm going to walk at you and trade with you for no reason, and I'm going to let you kill me. So Garen lets me kill him, but the real goal there was, again, just create the slow push on level 4, crash on level 5, take the recall, and then boom, you get out of in hard lane matchup, because again, Camille is going to lose to Garen early game. And then you were able to just basically get a free recall. Again, here, shout out to Garen, he lets us get more than that, and obviously you'll take advantage of people being dumb when they are dumb. So again, basically, what you need to understand there is you want to trade with the enemy enough that they're not able to crash the wave until 105-ish. If they crash the wave on 105, or you're able to freeze the wave at 105, then the next wave of yours will be closer to your turret, which allows you to then create that slow push, trade around level 4, and then use the level 4 advantage to get push and find a wave crash to recall or to dive. That's going to be it for the video. Again, these are the main points to understand. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.